Hello and welcome to our video interview that is dedicated to the topic of CCS or carbon capture and storage. I'm Valts Ulmanis from CIVITTA, Latvia, and today together with me is Jānis Volberts from Bellona. And we will talk a bit about the topic of CCS, about the CCS4CEE project where we both have been involved, and also about some future aspects in this topic. Maybe Jānis, you can tell us a bit more about the company that you are working with and what they are doing in this field.
All right, thank you for having me here. Bellona is originally a Norwegian organization, but we are now truly European climate organization with offices in Brussels, in Berlin, in Oslo, and we cover really large part of Europe. In this project, Bellona is expertise partner for CCS solution. Besides that, we also organized 2 policy events in Brussels, study field trip in Norway. We produced several reports on CCS technology, on stakeholder involvement. We did all the quality assurance for every single report from this project. So that was our main role.
Okay, thanks. I think we can start with the first question is what even is CCS and why it is important and why should we care about this topic?
CCS, like verbally and literally, it's carbon capture and storage, storing carbon dioxide in geological storage formations permanently, safely, and it usually comes from like CO2. Usually, we are talking about usually comes from industrial processes. Sometimes it can be also captured directly from the air, but in majority of cases, at least at the moment, we talk about industrial processes when you, in many cases, for hard to abate industries like cement production, steel production, you cannot avoid CO2 leakage unless you use carbon capture and storage as one of technologies. Its solution has been recognized by all the leading organizations in the field, starting from European Commission, but also IPCC, International Energy Agency, and so on. So that's in a nutshell CCS.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that this of course is a crucial solution, and especially for those hard to abate industries. But it is of course not a silver bullet, and then it should be looked in context with other measures regarding that could help to solve the climate change. Moving on, what do you think are the main challenges and obstacles associated with CCS?
Again, referring to the same organizations I just mentioned, they indicate, and also we see it from different national reports, that CO2 transportation and storage is the main chains that is lacking. There is not enough storage facilities, and it's not evenly distributed in European Union, but also transportation infrastructure is not there. So that is one big part. The other is more related to regulations. Many countries, especially in CE region, has ban. It's not allowed according to law to store CO2 on shore. So the only solution is to transport it elsewhere. That again creates additional costs for local companies, for local industries, and that puts them in competitive disadvantage. And then obviously financial support, also explanational work with local communities. So these are the current that's the current landscape where we have to try to help national governments, companies, municipalities to make it right. And one of them, you can look at the end result also that companies keep their operations in specific countries, let's say Schwenk or some other companies, so that they are not forced to stop their business in specific country, but they can, with just transition mechanisms, keep producing cement and do it in a climate-friendly manner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can agree to those main challenges here. And just mention that during this project that we mentioned previously, CCS4CEE, we also have developed analysis and on existing situation to understand what are the main challenges in each country. And one of the main things that we can consider is that countries are different in the region, but those challenges remain the same. And and moving on to the next topic, which is how does Latvia look into the context of the wider region or the European Union? I think I can mention some of the main differences here that we also have analyzed in the report. And one way is to compare it with, of course, the Western Europe. And here we see that the region is lagging a bit behind in those terms. And other things to consider here regarding specifically Latvia and also the Baltic states is this smaller size of the market. So respectively, the smaller emission size and then smaller emission emitters. But it doesn't mean that this topic is not relevant for us here. But it just depends on those application possibilities. And maybe you have some other opinions about how the Latvia differs between other countries in this region, or for example from the rest of the Europe.
I mean, in my head, Latvia has tremendous opportunity regionally. As you mentioned, there is potential storage locations that, Inčukalns can be an example for gas storage, but we can build something similar for CO2 storage, and that would help not only national companies, but also for the neighboring countries, from Lithuanian companies to store their CO2 permanently, safely underground in Latvian territory. But we can also create market here for potential emitters and companies from Sweden, Finland, and by that create like a regional hub for CO2 storage, and with that creating really economical case, but also big thing for climate change.
Yeah, good insight into those differences. But right now, I think we can tell a bit more about the project itself that we have referenced several times before, this CCS4CEE. So, in short, this project aims to renew the discussion of the deployment of CCS in the Central and Eastern European region. And yeah, hopefully leading to new policies and new initiatives there. But yeah, for the context why this project has been developed, I think that one of the main things when the application was developed is that it was possible to identify that there is this gap between this region and the rest of the Europe in this topic, and then to avoid this potential costs that there would be for us to catch up, for example, for the rest of the Europe, or some lost opportunities in this field. There was developed application for this project, and yeah, thus the consortium, including CIVITTA and Bellona, and our partners WISE Europe and European and Energy Policy Group are right now implementing this project, and it will soon be concluded at the end of year 2023. But to briefly describe the main phases and achievements during this project, so the first phase was this development of analysis of overall situation in those countries in this field, to understand this starting point and existing situation. And based on that, in the second stage, we developed roadmaps for each country included, and also regional roadmap to understand what exactly are the next steps here to develop this topic. And yeah, I think those two things are achievements by themselves. I think we did a solid job in assessing the situation and defining the next steps here. And yeah, I just hope that it was useful for example, for national policymakers and national stakeholders to get to know this topic and understand how to develop this field further. And yeah, the last stage of this project that we concluded this year was supporting the implementation of the roadmaps with the different kinds of capacity building events and networking events. And yeah, I also think it was a good option to bring together stakeholders from different states, from different sectors, and then yeah, actually they could learn some more specific aspects of this topic, or share knowledge, or yeah, just to network in this field. And yeah, talking about those events, I wanted to briefly highlight the two events that we participated in the recent months. So first of it was regional annual conference in Prague, which was the final one in this project, concluding basically all the activities that we have done so far here. And yeah, first of all, it was good to see this wide range of stakeholders, both in person and online, participating there. And yeah, also the range of topics that were reviewed in this conference was also quite interesting, because we looked at the topics starting from the recent developments in the European Union, and for example, specific project examples, or development, I don't know, for example, in the United States, and going to such specific topics as, for example, public acceptance, and yeah. And yeah, considering this, thanks to the organizers of this conference. And yeah, and finally, I think it was just a good way how to conclude this project, getting feedback from the stakeholders involved there. But yeah, that was about the regional conference. One more event that happened in the recent months right here in Riga, although not part of this specific project, but organized by one of the stakeholders in the region, was Baltic Carbon Forum. And yeah, what maybe were your main conclusions from this event?
We launched Port to Decarb project during the Baltic Carbon Forum, so that was already like celebration to me. But additionally to that, so many stakeholders, not only from Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, but also beyond, like people from Germany, from Sweden, Finland. So many aspects, starting from really technical research, ending with legal aspects, Helsinki Convention analysis, and so on, so on. So to me, absolutely fantastic event, gained so much content, but also networks, and now just to capitalize it and work further.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can only add that it was a really great opportunity to see industry experts and large array of stakeholders also right here in Riga, and then to discuss those topics. But that was about the existing situation and also the project and events. Let's talk a bit about the future. What do you think are the main measures that needs to be taken to accelerate the adoption of CCS in the region, in Latvia, in Europe?
Well, there are several of them, but I think the crucial is to have mindset of policy makers that if we want to decarbonize industrial sectors, hard to abate sectors, sometimes called backbone of economy, then you have to take some very concrete actions. And for CCS deployment, there is a need for infrastructure, for CO2 transportation, and obviously for storage. So three things that national governments must do is and they can be done like simultaneously. One is like working group to assess with industry players, with local governments, their investment plans and how to fit in government interactions so that it plays well, and at the time when industry partners capture CO2, there are other infrastructure ready to transport and store CO2, whether onshore or offshore. That's a matter of choice, but there must be infrastructure for transportation of CO2. So working group regulations, and third is funding. Without immediate research on underground storage potential, it's hard to move forward. So that's absolutely crucial to do initial research if it's possible to store CO2 in Latvian soil, in what capacity, what pressure, temperature, so on, so on. So that is like top three that, in our opinion, would be needed locally here.
Yeah. A really good overview on this, and I think we can move on to the next part. You already mentioned this project that you presented during the Baltic Carbon Forum. Maybe you can expand a little bit more on that.
Right. So Port to Decarb is a project to help decarbonization efforts happen faster, with ports as natural hubs or clusters of different industry players. And within the project, we select ports in North Sea, in Baltic Sea, and then try to help them with the networking events, with report to allow much faster pathway to create CO2 transportation and storage infrastructure. In a nutshell, that's what it is. We started it this year, and currently ports are right now already starting to look to one another and whether there is a market place, and is this actually the new energy where they want to invest and somehow contribute to environmental efforts nationally and regionally.
Yeah, I think it is also a good overview, and it will be interesting to follow up what is happening in this project and how the things are developing here. But yeah, I think we can slowly move on to the conclusion part of this topic. So before we conclude this, I wanted to ask, maybe you have some final thoughts or final considerations about this.
I mean, this is currently really hot topic, and many countries are doing a lot of proactive measures to make it a reality for companies working in their countries. And I'm not talking only about Western European countries like Denmark, Norway, Netherlands, and so on, but it's right now already becoming more hot topic in CE countries like Poland, like Croatia. So I think, and with the help obviously of the European funding, like projects of common interest, innovation fund, so there is funding to accelerate this process, to share risks, to make it faster. I just wish that would be those efforts and activities and projects would be more equally distributed in European Union, but nobody else gonna apply for other companies, for other governments. It needs to come, initiative needs to come nationally. I'm happy to see that at the last PCI report, two projects where also Latvian partners were involved, were selected, and we hope that some cross-border transportation infrastructure will be put in place in coming years.
Yeah. I think it is actually great to hear that there are actual projects in the region that are developing. Because when I started working on this topic 2 years ago, it didn't seem that at this moment, at the end of the project, there would be, such developments and actual projects going forwards. And it is really good to hear that. Thanks for participating. Thanks also to listeners and also to Norway Grants for funding this project. And stay tuned and thank you.
Thank you.